Hello everyone and welcome to our training today. Today we're going to be talking about the money you can get right now with the coronavirus going into a recession. A lot of people as entrepreneurs are really freaking out about being able to access the capital they need to be able to survive through this. And by the end of this, you're going to know, 15, 20, probably even 25 or more different ways that you can get financing right now during the coronavirus. We're going to talk about SBA disaster loans. We're going to talk about funding that's individually taking place in your states. We're going to talk about a lot of funding you've probably never heard of, a lot of people don't even know of, that works really well right now for you to be able to get the money you need. Real quick, if you don't know who I am, my name is Ty Crandall. I'm the CEO at Credit Suite, and if we can help you along the way, we work with over 1,000 lenders in every one of the financing options I'm going to talk about today and many others, including the SBA loans and disaster loans. So if we can help you through this, give us a ring, 877-600-2487. You can also go right online and apply, and that will go right to our finance team, and our finance team will follow up and talk to you about all the financing you can get now. And the link to do that is creditsuite.com/get funding. If you're watching this live on YouTube, you will see on the bottom of all my slides, I have our phone number and I have our approval link for you to come in and get approved. So look, let's talk about what we already know, right? A lot of things are changing right now. There's a lot of uncertainty. I owned a mortgage company during the mortgage crisis, so I completely understand what it's like to be on the front line where everything is happening. If you're a restaurant owner, if you're a gym, if you're a business that's had to close down indefinitely, you have no idea when you're going to open. But even if you're not, there's a lot of uncertainty in other businesses as well, as customers kind of tend to hoard their money and not spend waiting for this whole thing to pass. So a lot of people are wondering how to get the actual capital they need to be able to succeed. Hold on one second. Let me show you. Sorry about that. I, like everyone during coronavirus, or most people, are working from home. So that was my German Shepherd alerting me somebody was at the door. So excuse me if you heard that in the background. So a lot of people are just wondering how to get money to grow or even survive at all. And this is exactly what we're going to be talking about. The one thing I need you to know, conditions are changing on the fly. Many states have already closed restaurants. Others are limiting gatherings. Stores are having trouble keeping things in stock on shelves. But this is stuff you know. In my world, things are changing as well. I can't tell you enough that the biggest change in the financing world is that you just have to act quickly. Industries are becoming restricted. Guidelines for lenders are getting tight because they can basically cherry pick applications. So a lot's happening on the lending side as well as in the world where things are definitely changing. Now the great news is that interest rates are at an all-time low. The Fed just cut rates to 0%. So there's never been a better time to borrow because $50 billion just got poured into SBA. Rates are at 0%. So the conditions are perfect for you to be able to get money, and you can still get the money very quickly. So you can still get money in 24, 48 hours. Revenue lenders are still lending in that time frame, and the payments are very low, as you're going to see on a lot of this financing because rates are low. But I just can't tell you enough the importance of acting now, okay? Because it's tempting to wait, hunker down, and see what happens. However, it's really the biggest mistake you can make. Cash is not in infinite supply, okay? So this is exactly why you need to act out. And let me give you a real example here by actually looking at one of a notice that I received from one of our banks even as of Friday. So you can just kind of get an idea of the conditions changing and the importance of acting right now. Let me get this image to populate, and I will show you that as soon as it does. So you can see here, this is one of our most popular lenders, one of the biggest in the alternative lending space. And what's interesting about this lender is that Thursday they went as low as a 500 FICO score. Okay, they would lend to people that have been in business 1 year with $120,000 a year in annual revenue. On Friday, they went to $250,000 in annual revenue, doubled that. You got to be in business 3 years, and you can start to see all these industries that have now become restricted. Okay, so this is what's happening is day to day, more lenders, they have so many applications pouring in that they're tightening up guidelines and cherry picking loan applications because they simply can. And this is why I cannot tell you enough the urgency of you taking action right now, because things are changing on the fly, but you have an opportunity to get money in a limited window before things really start to tighten up. So what do you do if you're a seasonal business? Well, you experience peaks and valleys, right? There's a lot of credit and financing that you're going to need to get through this as well. So even if you're a seasonal business and you're a regular business that's not used to this, all the financing that we're going to talk about today will give you an idea of how you can navigate through it. So we're going to talk about 14 different credit line options you can get right now today. We're going to talk about how to get credit lines with no credit check. We're going to talk about how to get the money as a startup. We're going to talk about how to get 0% credit lines. We're going to talk about how to get approved for 250,000 credit lines. We're going to talk about SBA loans. We're going to talk about disaster assistance. We're going to talk about a lot of other options, even startup financing that will work for you right now with what's going on. Okay, now I'm going to kind of skip this. We already went through this, and I'll tell you a little bit about us if you don't know about Credit Suite. Okay, we've helped over 40,000 businesses build credit and get financing, 1,091 on Inc. 5,000 in 2019, blah, blah, blah. The only reason I even show you this is just to let you know that I know what we're talking about. We help a lot of business owners through multiple dips in the economy, so this is exactly the kind of stuff that I want you to know to be able to be successful, okay? I want you to know that we have the experience in the space, so we know what we're talking about here. If you've looked at our YouTube channel, looked at our social media channels, you'll see that we're on the go talking constantly about what's actually changing here. So we're going to talk a lot about credit lines today, and here's why. Because there's a lot of unique advantages of credit lines. Right now, if you can get a loan, get a loan. We're going to talk about loan options. But one of the best things I want to talk about today is how to get credit lines, because credit lines give you flexibility. You're only paying interest and payments on what you owe. They're the most requested type of financing in the business world. For what you're going through in this unsure landscape, it's always good to have credit lines. Even as we recover in the months to come, you really need to make sure that you're accessing credit lines. I'm going to spend a lot of today talking about credit lines very few people know about, so you have the money to get through this crisis and then come out on the other side and have money available to you to navigate when sales are slow, when things actually get change in the economy or in your world. Now, as of tomorrow on Wednesday at 11 o'clock, I will be going live and going through a state-by-state response. So tomorrow at 11 o'clock on YouTube, I will be showing you exactly what's happening state by state with different disaster funds. So whatever state you're in, all 50 we're going to go through, and I'm going to talk about unique financing that's available state by state as well. So if you want, make sure you like the video, subscribe to our channel, and you should be notified when we go live tomorrow at 11 o'clock to talk a little bit more about that as well. So let's talk about how to get money through all of this. And before I dive in, let me see if I have some questions. Hello from Huntington Beach. Thanks for saying hey, and thanks everybody for the thank yous. We're doing our best to get all the content that we can get for you as well. And Marlon says the dog wants to hear about financing as well. She does, but she hears about it all the time. So I got to let you know that. But she's a very smart dog. If you want financing, you're probably the smartest German Shepherd on that topic you'll talk to, because she hears me talking about this all the time. So let's talk about how to get money right now. How you get money going through this is what I call the 3 C's formula. Okay, what it comes down to is cash flow, credit, and or collateral. So what we're going to talk about options today include one of these, and I'm going to give you options at the end where none of these are needed. Meaning even if you have bad credit, even if you don't have cash flow, even if you don't have collateral, I'm going to talk about options that will work for you today still. But almost all financing that exists relies on you having a strength. The strength that lenders are looking for is one or all of these. The more of these you have, the more financing options will open up. But even one of these is enough to get you approved for low interest rate credit lines and or loans. And we'll talk about the qualifications for SBA here in a few minutes as well. So this is what you got to look at. When it comes down to getting money right now during coronavirus, you have to ask yourself, what is your strength? Do you have good personal credit? No. Do you have a friend? Do you have a family member? Do you have somebody else that does? 75% of entrepreneurs get money from family and friends. Now's the time to lean on them if you need help. And it's much easier to get their credit used to help you get accounts that report, for example, on the business credit reports and won't even adversely affect their credit than it is to get $50,000 from them. So if you don't have good credit, do you have a good credit guarantor? Do you have established business credit? Any of those can be used to get you financing. Do you have collateral? We're going to talk about all different types of collateral that could be used for financing today. Or the other option is, do you have cash flow? Do you have tax returns and or bank statements that show that you have consistent cash flow in your business, consistent revenue? Focus on your strength, and your strength will open up the financing options for you. So let's talk a lot about the credit line hybrid. This is the number one program I've seen to help mitigate this crisis, and here's why. I talk to all of our lenders, not all of our lenders, I could talk to 1,000 lenders all day, but I talk to lenders in every industry daily to see what's changing and what's happening. And this industry has not been affected yet, meaning that you can still get the same amount of credit lines with this program as you could have before the recession hit. And the reason for this is because the government is coming in and buying commercial paper amongst many other things to provide liquidity in the credit markets. Blah, blah. If that sounds confusing, you don't need to know about it. All you need to know is this. The government's buying a lot of things on the back end, so the front end, the banks that are lending money, the banks that are issuing credit can still do so. So this market is still untouched. It's one of the easiest programs I've seen to qualify. You can get money fairly quickly, and no matter what industry you're in, startup, high risk, no matter if your sales have dropped, this will still work for you, and this is why it's the number one I wanted to go over with you. So we call this a credit line hybrid because it combines the best elements of credit cards and credit lines. The best aspect of credit cards is that you can get 0% financing for 6 to 18 months. The best aspect of credit lines is that you could take the cash out or write checks against the line without paying exorbitant interest rates like you'd have to on a credit card. This is a credit line hybrid. It's a combination of both. You're getting 0% rates, perfect through a recession and an uncertain time, and you also have the ability to take cash out. So if you can't use the Visa aspect of the credit line, you could write checks against it or take cash out. But here's the kicker. You could do so at 0%. So you could liquidate the accounts, take the cash out, write checks against it, or just use the credit line for what it is, and you are still able to do so at 0%. Typically, approvals range up to about $150,000. If you have multiple guarantors, you might be able to get more. Okay, 0% rates for about 18 months, normal credit card rates after that. No doc. Here's why this is awesome. Right now, a lot of you watching this, a lot of you listening have already been adversely impacted. Your revenues are declining. And what happens is now lenders that are lend based on cash flow want to see up-to-date weekly statements. Usually they ask for last month's bank statement. Now they're asking for weekly statements because they want to see if your revenue's declining in this moment. And if it is, those options are no longer viable for you. But what's nice about this credit line hybrid is it's no doc. You don't have to supply tax returns, you don't have to supply bank statements, so even when your actual revenue is declining through something like the coronavirus, you can still get approved. The other brilliant part about this is it works for a startup. Since you don't need bank statements, since you don't need tax returns, since you don't need revenue verification of any kind, you're still able to come in here and get approved because no documents are required. So it's ideal for startups, high-risk industries, those that want really low payments with the 0%, those that have had declining revenues through all this. There's so many benefits of having this credit line hybrid program to carry yourself through. Now, you're typically going to get about 5 to 8 times the amount of your highest credit limit account. So if you have a $10,000 high limit credit card now, you're typically going to get 5 to 8 times that, which is about $50,000 to $80,000 in financing. So you've got to figure out your most major limit credit card, and whatever that is, you'll get about 5 to 8 times that with this program. Okay, and you're going to get individual cards, individual lines. So you get 5 to 8 individual lines with this program. Now, what's nice about this is that banks compete against each other. And when they see that other banks have issued you credit, they kind of tend to jockey for position by giving you the higher limit. Because we all understand why, right? You typically are going to keep in your wallet your highest limit account. Most people do. Most people take their highest limit credit line or credit card, and that's what they're carrying with them. So these lenders jockey for position to be number one, and they continue to compete against each other, raising their limits as you go. So having multiple lines means your limits get higher and higher and higher as time goes. Now, these are business credit cards, and they're also what are called standard cards. So that means that you have a choice. When you're applying for this program, they're going to come to you and give you an option of just business cards. Those are cards that report to the business credit reporting agencies. So those help you build business credit. They're also going to give you an option of getting standard cards. Standard cards are cards that work just like business cards, but they report to the consumer credit reporting agencies, not the business credit reporting agencies. You have a choice. You can get what we call max funding, which means the bundle of both, or you could just get business cards and just have business credit reporting. So let me give you an example here. You might say, look, coronavirus is upon us. I want max funding, and you come in and get $150,000. Or you might say, I only want accounts that report to the business credit reports because I'm using my dad's credit to qualify. And then dad could sign as a guarantor, and all the credit reports on your business credit reports, not his personal. So his personal credit's not impacted, and your business credit is being billed all using his credit as a guarantor to do so. So there's multiple options there for you depending on if you want business and standard cards or just business cards, but that's the difference between them. Now the finance source is working on your behalf to apply for these cards. So we work with multiple different companies that do this because what we find is that certain types of businesses, startup versus non-startup, certain industries work better with different sources. But we are going to help connect you with the funding source that will apply and get the cards for you. And here's why you want to do that. The company is not a lender, but they're typically going to get you 5 to 8 times the amount that you'll get on your own. Here's how it works. If you go out right now to get a business credit card, you may go to Bank of America and apply and get a $20,000 credit card. Congratulations, you got 20 grand. The problem is that you don't know if you're getting 0% for 6 to 18 months. You don't more than likely know if that account's reporting to the business credit reporting agencies, and in most cases it's not. These experts, all they do is obtain personal guaranteed these kind of credit lines. So for example, at Credit Suite, we really specialize in helping you get non-personal guarantee credit. We help you get credit without a personal guarantee and without a personal credit check. This is the other side of business credit. You're going to be relying on personal credit. It's going to require a personal guarantee, but the benefit is that you're getting cash credit immediately whether or not you have any business credit established. So these experts are going in and get you multiple cards at the same time. They know the sources that will get you the longest 0% APR terms, 18 months. They know the cards that will get you the most points. They know the cards that report to the business credit reporting agencies, and they know our clients want to get as many business credit reporting accounts as they can. So they even help our clients get access to credit lines almost none of their other clients do because our focus is getting business credit reporting accounts. So not only are you building business credit, but you're also getting access to about 150 grand as these experts come in and start applying and getting you this credit. Now the nice thing is that they get you way more than you get on your own because they're applying all in one shot, and they have unique relationships with every underwriter. Same with us. If you want to know what it takes to get approved for a Home Depot account without a personal guarantee and credit check, we can tell you that because we have relationships with the underwriters and we're contacting them consistently to make sure that we understand what it takes to get approved. They do exactly the same thing with the big banks that are issuing these credit lines, so then that way you have the best chance of getting approved for the most amount of money, 5 to 8 times the amount than you're going to get on your own, way more than you get in a bank. If you try to go get a loan, you try to go get a credit card right now on your own, you're going to blow your ability to get max funding, and here's why. With this program, even one inquiry on your credit report can cost you $25,000 in funding. Even one inquiry could cost you 25 grand in funding. If they see you're applying for other credit and financing, not as many lenders will want to issue you this credit. So you have to really be conservative of the inquiries that you have right now because even one inquiry can cost you a considerable amount of money if you're coming in to get approved. Now you need a 650 FICO score to get approved. Okay, Mr. Automatic says you have to put your personal credit first. Yes, this is correct. As I'm getting ready to say, with this program, you need to put your personal credit first. And we're going to talk about options later that don't require a personal credit check. But this one is based on consumer credit. 650 plus FICO score required. You need to have higher scores for the business cards. As I mentioned, guarantors are welcome. No derogatory reported items in the last 2 years. No public records. And you need to have at least one bank credit card with a 2-year history and a $2,000 limit or higher. If not, they're going to look at cars, mortgages, things like that. They just want to make sure that you have a real credit profile that actually has what they call some depths. So she says, what if you're a DBA and been in business less than months? How can I get credit? You can still get this. Many of the options we'll talk about will work for startups. So I will call you a startup, and when I talk about financing that works for startups, you'll know that I'm speaking directly to you. This is financing that works directly for startups. So that being said, you can actually come in here and you're able to get approved. Now, a lot of people are asking me about economy questions and a lot of other things, but I am going to stick to the basics here to try to teach you as much as I can about getting as much financing as you can get. So when it comes to this credit line hybrid, there's one thing they care about: your consumer credit quality or that of your guarantor. They're going to look at inquiries. They're going to look at utilization. Those are things they're going to want to see in line to be able to get approved. Let's talk about SBA loans. $50 billion was just poured into relief, okay, due to the coronavirus situation. The SBA is waiving upfront fees on loans to veterans up to $1 million, and they're also waiving them in the SBA Express program. Very important note here. SBA Express, to get this, you need to stay under $350,000, and I recommend all of you do, because even though you've heard about this $50 billion, what you've yet to hear is that the government's hiring a bunch of more people to work at SBA, right? Nobody's heard that. So SBA is becoming overwhelmed very quickly. So the SBA Express program is a faster way to get an SBA loan, and it only works if you're borrowing under $350,000. So I recommend, if you're trying to get money right now, try to stay under $350,000 with SBA. If you're above at $350,000, the problem is it's going to take you considerably longer to be able to get approved. Okay, let's talk about SBA disaster relief. Okay, SBA is now permitted to exercise available authority, and they'll provide loans to those affected in certain areas. Okay, now their intent is to make 30 million small businesses more resilient to what's going on. But here's what you need to know. Tomorrow at 11, I'm going to do a live on YouTube state by state to tell you where your state is in this process. The state has to apply to get these disaster relief loans, and then they have to be accepted. So there's a lot of states that have been accepted. You can get them right now in your state. There's other states that have applied but have yet to been accepted. And believe it or not, there are other states that have yet to even apply to be able to receive these funds from SBA. Where your state is, we will be talking about tomorrow, giving you a real-time update. Okay, now with these loans, here's how they work. You can get rates as low as 2.75% if you are a nonprofit. So yes, they work for nonprofits. I get that question a lot. 3.75% for profit. To give you an idea of comparison, a normal SBA loan is about 8 to 10% right now. With these loans, it's 2.75% for nonprofit, 3.75% for profit. There's talks of them even lowering it temporarily to 0%, but I've yet to see that happen. Terms are up to 30 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. This keeps your payments low. Why SBA loans are so helpful to entrepreneurs is that the term is very long on SBA loans. So a 30-year term, let me give you an example. Let's say you stay at $350,000 to get an SBA Express loan. It takes you 30 to 60 days right now to get that loan. You go and borrow $350,000 at 3.75% because you're a for-profit company, and you borrow it over a 30-year term. Your payment would be $1,620 a month, to give you a real comparison. So you'd spend $1,620 a month to borrow $350,000 with this kind of disaster relief loan. Now, the biggest change that they're making for qualifications is that you only need 1 year of financials versus 3. SBA's always required 3 years tax returns, 3 years 3 years tax returns, 3 years financials. Now they're only requiring 1 year with the disaster relief loan, so it's easier to get approved. Now, for reduced revenue and sales, increased expenses and costs, that's what these loans are for. Why that's important is this: you usually can't use SBA loans just to offset the fact that your revenue is decreased. You have to have what's called use of funds with SBA. You have to account for how you're using that money. And SBA only lets you have so many reasons that you can get the money. So if I apply for a normal SBA loan and I say my revenue's declining, that's why I need to get approved, they would decline that loan. But if I go into a disaster loan and I say my revenue has decreased, my sales have decreased, my expenses have increased, then they will still approve that loan for these reasons. Here's why I'm telling you this and why it's so important. So many people you're going to apply for right now are going to ignore SBA disaster loans, and they're going to move you right to a typical SBA loan. The problem with that is a standard SBA loan requires 3 years documentation. They won't let you get approved if your revenues and sales are declining, etc., etc. But if you are a restaurant that's hard hit by what's going on, you need to specifically specifically be working with the disaster relief loans, those are the ones that are designed specifically for your requirements. Near normal approval requirements. By that I mean you still have to meet most all requirements that SBA has, but I say near normal because normally they want 3 years financials, now they only want 1 year. Which means when it comes to getting approved for SBA loans, you've got to have good personal credit. You have to have some established business credit. You need to have consistent revenue on your tax returns and you also need some kind of collateral, account receivables, your house, etc. Remember we talked about 3 C's. You need all 3 C's for SBA loans, even SBA disaster loans. Your cash flow can be declining, but you still need to have cash flow to get these loans. You need to have good credit. You need to have collateral, but you also need to build business credit. So if you haven't built your business credit yet, you need to get started on this right away, because SBA loans, even SBA disaster loans, look at something called the FICO Small Business Score, the FICO SBSS score, to determine if you should get approved or not. FICO SBSS score, the minimum score to get an SBA loan is 140. You can't have a 140 score if you haven't built business credit. The way FICO's small business score works, it rates business credit higher, weighs business credit higher into the calculation than consumer credit. You can't have a high enough score without business credit. So you've got to have some business credit established. If you're not sure if you have business credit established or not, then what you want to do is give us a ring, 877-600-2487. Our team will do a free check for you. We will check the reporting agencies to see if you have credit established. We will help you get free credit monitoring with Dun & Bradstreet and Experian. We will even talk to you and help you with the process of building business credit so you can get SBA loans amongst many other kind of financing. But again, you need to keep in mind that this is an overview of how these disaster loans work, but you're still going to have to meet the typical requirements. Now, if you say, oh my gosh, I don't meet the requirements, that's okay. I'm going to talk about all different kind of options which for you today that may work for you instead. Okay, now, one of our watchers, Lil Aid, I'll say, I have a FICO score 725, paid down all cards except one personal, one business. Should I wait to get those paid down? No, do not. Still give us a call, and here's why. Great question. Somebody says, I have great credit, but I'm waiting for a credit card balance to get paid down to apply. Should I wait? No, you shouldn't, because there are what are called bridge loans if you need one anyways. A bridge loan will get you the money you need to pay down the credit cards, then you use the credit line you get to pay off that bridge loan. So even if your utilization's too high, you still want to apply because you're still able to come in and get bridge loans to pay down the credit cards if need be. And if you've already paid them down, there's a good chance that you may be able to come in anyways, and you may be able to already get approved with what's called a rapid rescore. Okay, so that being said, that should hopefully give you some advice there. How can I get business startup loan with no business credit and poor personal credit? I'm going to talk to you about other options that will work for you as well today that fit this scenario, so we will dive into that. Lavishi says no startups, not for SBA disaster relief, no, but SBA does have a program that will help startups. It's called a 7M loan. M stands for micro loans. These loans are lent directly by SBA. The average loan amount's $10,000. It's up to a $30,000 approval. You're still the normal 8 to 10% interest rates that SBA will charge. Okay. Right now, about 7 or 8% is where you'd be, but a 7M micro loan will work for you even if you are a startup business. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. What if you have more than one business? Can you apply for 2? Yes, you can. For any of these programs that you're seeing here, you can apply for multiple of these types of financing if you have multiple businesses. Okay, so there's up to $2 million that's set us, or up to $2 million you can get these SBA disaster relief loans for, and you can use them for payroll, accounts payable, other bills. Like I said, what makes these unique is that you can use them for these kind of purposes where you can't use normal SBA loans for these kind of purposes. SBA also has what they call cap lines. These are SBA's credit lines, okay? It's their umbrella program where all of their credit lines are under. You can get loans up to $5 million. You can get seasonal lines if you're a seasonal business. You can get working capital lines for any reason. If you're in the construction industry or a contractor, there's all kinds of specific credit lines that you can get for those purposes as well. All you need to know is that, again, it just comes down to, with SBA, to being able to credit lines to just depending on what industry you're in. There's different credit lines depending on the industry that you're in. So we've talked about SBA micro loans for startups up to $30,000. We've talked about SBA loans in general. These are loans you can get up to $5 million, 7-8% average interest rate right now. We've talked about SBA disaster relief loans as well. And we've also talked about SBA's credit lines. So that gives you a run, an idea of almost all the main SBA programs that you're going to want right now. SBA has one more called a 504, which has to do with real estate. So you have a chance right now, if you own a building, to refinance and lower your rate with an SBA 504 loan. So if you want to buy real estate, or more than likely with coronavirus, you're looking to refinance to lower payments, SBA has a 504 loan as well. And again, our phone number, our quick link to get approved is on the bottom of our slides. So if any and all of this financing makes sense, give us a ring, apply online. We'll talk to you about it. Any of those SBA loans become possible for you to do it. I've got all kinds of crazy emojis right now getting put into the chat. So let me see. Can you get credit if your personal credit's bad? Yes, you can. We'll talk about options that will work for you. SBA won't work for you if you have bad personal credit, but we'll talk about options that will. And Gary says, is it possible to get into your system to help me acquire credit cards? We can. Gary, give us a call. We'll talk a little bit about that. Okay, we're not usually, if you're getting our business credit building system, that's not typically how it's going to work, but we can work with you to get into our business credit building system really affordably right now. And of course, we never charge you up front to get any kind of financing. Okay. Okay. And JS Claiborne says, we're talking about a lot of loans, but how do we get started on acquiring a disaster loan? I already talked to you about that. I just told you everything you need to know about the disaster loans, and I've given you the phone number, and I've given you the quick link to get approved. If you don't want to work with us to get the SBA loans, then go to an SBA lender. Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, all major lenders offer SBA loans, almost all of them, and a lot of regional lenders do as well. At Credit Suite, we work with, 10, 20 different SBA lenders because we find some work better for different industries and situations than others. So if you're giving us a call or going online to creditsuite.com/get funding, we will get you with the right lender that will get you the right disaster loan. But I've now talked about exactly how to get approved and everything you need to know about those. J.S. Claiborne says, only have personal bank statements and not business bank statements. We'll talk about other options that will work, but SBA is not an option for you if that is the case. So let's talk about artificial intelligence. So let's talk about some of these credit lines. So there are now called AI credit lines, and here's why you care. Because right now, you need the fastest way to get approved for the most amount of money, and artificial intelligence credit lines are one of the ways to do it. AI, instead of you supplying 6 months worth of bank statements and 6 months worth of merchant statements like a lot of lenders want, they will ask for your bank account login, and their computer crawlers will go through your bank account and underwrite it automatically. It happens within minutes, less than an hour for sure, and that means you can get your approval in about an hour time, and you can fund the next day. So this is very fast, easy money. Loan approvals are up to $150,000. There's multiple sources. One goes to 100, one goes to 150,000. One source has 3 months time in business. 1 month, the other source has 6 months time in business, and approvals are based on how you manage your revenue. So if you've been in business 3 to 6 months, these are a great option to get approved with as well. The underwriting is fast, the funding is very quick, and what they're mainly looking for is bank account management, responsible bank account management. One lending source has a 620 FICO score. The other one has no minimum FICO score requirements. So if you manage your bank account well, even if you have credit issues, you can still get approved. There's not even credit checks provided by some lenders in this space. So what they're going to do is, again, go right in, use their crawlers to underwrite the loan by looking at your bank account history electronically without you needing to physically come in and supply bank statements. So the approval and the funding on these are very quick, a very good way to get money right now if you're managing your bank account responsibly. Now, while I'm on this, they also have very similar credit lines that are available based on account receivables. So if your customers pay you on terms instead of paying you in one lump or in paying you all in one payment, then you could take the customer's payments that's paying you on terms as collateral to get financing. You can borrow again on that program as much as $150,000, and instead of looking at how you manage your revenue, they'll look at things like your QuickBooks on how well you manage manage your account receivables. So if you manage your account receivables well, you can get approved without a credit check, without credit even matter, and you can still get approved for up to $150,000 just based on how well you actually manage your receivables. Okay, so that being said, let me look and see what other questions that I may have here that I have not answered. What if you moved your brick and mortar business or lines? You're still able to get approved. A lot of these options will still work for you even if you moved your address. And Card says, a God sent today, what a universal deposit. Well, that's good. That's what I'm here for, is to help you understand everything that you can get now. We have 3 business accounts and moved hundreds of thousands of traffic through them. Well, what results show up? Well, what happens is it depends on if the accounts you're running the money through show up to the business credit reporting agencies. If you're talking about business bank accounts, then anything's going to show up that you would see when you normally log into your business bank account. Let's talk a little bit about inventory financing. This is only going to be for a select few of you, but I actually talked to somebody yesterday that this was his saving grace. And what happens is if you have inventory of $500,000 or more, or you rely on inventory to fund your business, you can get low interest rate credit line for the equivalent of 50% of the value of your inventory. You can use this to buy inventory to put on your shelves. You can use this to use the inventory you already have as collateral to get financing. Now, what's nice about this, and remember my 3C formula: cash flow, credit, collateral. If you have one C, you don't need the other two. With the other one I just showed you was cash flow financing. So I just showed you a way that if you have consistent cash flow, you can get approved, where your credit and your collateral really don't matter. This one, your collateral matters, your inventory, but your credit and your cash flow don't matter. So even if your credit's trashed, and even if your cash flow is down, you can still use your inventory as leverage to borrow against that to be able to get financing. And to show you how unique this kind of stuff is, there's one lender in the entire country that does this kind of financing. So I am pulling into all my bag of tricks, per se, to pull out even very unique programs that only 1 or 2 lenders offer to make sure you have access to the most amount of funding right now. This is a great option if you need to buy inventory, or if you already own inventory that you could use collateral to borrow against, which, let's be honest, that happens right now. A lot of people are in retail. So you've got stuff in your shop, you've got stuff on your shelves, and your store is literally sitting there vacant right now because you're not even allowed to have people go in the store. That is exactly what inventory financing is designed for, where you can now use the inventory as collateral to get financing, and then use that money to be able to support yourself, pull you through, even buy more inventory. Revenue credit lending line. Okay, so this is how this works. Revenue lending is the most common kind of financing that exists today. You see it advertised all over the place, whether you know it or not. The requirements are almost always the same. 1 year time in business, $10,000 a month in monthly revenue. Now, if you have been in business 6 months or only have $5,000 a month in revenue, you can get approved for a revenue lending loan. They also offer revenue lending credit lines for about $20,000, but they're going to require usually financials or a little bit better credit. So let's talk about the revenue lending loans. You can get approved with a FICO score as low as 500. You can get approved for 6 months time in business. You can get approved if your revenue is as low as $5,000, and you can get approved for as much as $500,000. How much you get approved for is going to depend on how much your annual revenue is. You're usually going to get about 10 to 15% advanced or loan against whatever your revenue is. So let's say that your revenue is $200,000 a year annually. Typically, you're going to get 10 to 20% of that advanced, or 10 to 15% of that advanced, which is $20,000 to $25,000 advance you get. So you're going to get about 10 to 15% of whatever your annual revenue is advanced, and you're also able to come in and get a credit line instead of just a loan. Okay, now, there's also, it brings up a good point here. The reason these credit lines exist, and you need to know this because this helps you get max funding when you really need it, which is right now. Revenue lending loans are what we call a first position lien. They're going to come in and they're going to take first position. They're going to say, okay, we're going to get you the money, and then we're going to put a UCC filing on your credit report, and we're going to tell other people that we've lent you this money. The reason the credit line exists is because there's also second and third position loans that will go behind the first. A lot of the first lenders don't want us to mention this, but it actually is 100% accurate and true, which means if you get a revenue lending loan for 15% of your annual revenue, then we also could sometimes help you get a second or third loan right behind it to help you get max funding. That's why these revenue lending lenders have said, look, we'll give you a $20,000 credit line on top of the first position, because they recognize so many other sources are lending second and third position behind the first. So that means that they want to get a bite of that apple. So they're coming in and giving you the first loan, then they're giving you a second credit loan right behind it. So this is a couple really cool options. You've got revenue lending. FICO scores as low as 500. Funding amounts to 500,000. Funding as soon as 48 hours. A great way to go. If you've got better credit and tax returns then you can get a credit line right behind the loan. Even if you don't have good credit or tax returns, we can get you to a second or a third lender to help you get sometimes a second or a third position behind the first, which gives you even more funding options. If the first lender allows that, and if you qualify for the second and third position, it's just a way to maximize your funding. So I've got a lot of questions coming in. Want to make sure they're answered. Okay, why are you asking for my personal social security when I want to use only my business line? Mr. Automatic says, it's simple. Okay, I've given you a lot of options here that will work for you if you're providing a social, and your social is typically needed because you need to make sure that you verify your identity. That's not required in the government per 2018. But we'll talk about business credit. There's plenty of ways you can get credit for your business without the personal guarantee and credit check, and we'll talk about that as we get near the end. I'll talk about business credit options as well, and that will work for you based only on business credit quality. Josh says, we are a resort and we have millions of wedding contracts for the next 18 months. Does that qualify for account receivable line? Yes, it can absolutely work for AR financing, so get in touch with us. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And Siri says, fastest phone company to get registered with now. I'm not sure what the fastest phone company to get registered with now. There's a lot of phone companies you can get for your business. Freedom Voice is the preferred one that I've had the most success with our clients. Okay, so hopefully that answers your questions. Okay, and how many lines of credit can a person owning many businesses have? Card Design says there is no limit. A lot of the financing I'm going to show you today works for you to get multiple forms of financing. Even if you get one, you can get multiple. That's why I'm showing you this. Look, the reason I'm here is because I owned a mortgage company in the mortgage crisis. The whole thing collapsed. I found out after the fact there was all this money that was available. And the reason I didn't know it is because all these lenders offer one or two kinds of programs. What I'm showing you today is really mind-blowing if you're paying attention to it, because these are all financing you can get one on top of another. If you qualify for 7 kinds of financing I'm going to show you today, you can get all 7. Even with one business, you don't even need multiple businesses to do it. This is how we succeed with getting our clients maximum funding, because we work with over 1,000 lenders and multiple different funding sources. Not to say you have to work with us, we just make it easy. There's other sources out there that work with 50 lenders or 70 lenders. The idea is that by working with one source that has multiple programs, you can get max funding, because any of these options will work with the other options as well. You can get any of these on top of the other ones we've talked about. We already talked about account receivable credit line, so I'm going to go ahead and skip this. Okay, interest rates are very low on that as well. I talked to you about the artificial intelligence account receivable financing. I talked to you about the artificial intelligence revenue lending loans. Those are very, very, very affordable interest rates as well. I didn't mention that, but I'll skip that because I already went through a lot of the other details. Private lines of credit. So these are available from, instead of lenders, individual investors. Interest rates are about 8%. You can get up to $1 million in funding. They're going to want you to see 650 type credit scores, and they're going to want you to have some liquid money available. Not the best in a recession, but I wanted to put this in there. If you have average credit, if you've got some money in the bank, then private individuals, there's a lot of private lines of credit from private investors versus lenders that could work. Speaking of private investors, let's talk a little bit about peer-to-peer lending. Okay, so peer-to-peer lending is a very unique and new kind of financing that's come up about the last few years, become really popular. So all the money I've shown you today is coming from banks. It's coming from lending institutions. It's coming from major banks or alternative lenders or credit issuers. This is very unique because much like investors invest in stock on the stock market, peer-to-peer lending lets private investors invest in private companies. So what they do is they go to people like you and I and they say, look, you can put in $10,000 or 20 or 50 or 100 or $1 million. You can invest into a peer-to-peer lending company. What they do is pull together your money with other investors' money and then they lend it to people like you and I, to other entrepreneurs. Now what's nice about this is that it's way easier to qualify than almost all other kind of financing because you don't have to qualify with the bank. You're qualifying with individual private investors through an actual platform that offers peer-to-peer lending. Here's some platforms that will give you an idea. Prosper, Lending Club, Upstart, Street Shares. So these are some of the peer-to-peer lenders that are out there. So they pull together money from private investors. They use their platforms to link together those investors with entrepreneurs that need the money, and they lend you the money. They use their own algorithms, their own underwriting requirements, but they're basically looking for consistent cash flow, and they're also looking for decent credit, 620 plus FICO score. Prosper's the biggest in the space by far. Okay, or Prosper was the original in the space. Prosper and Lending Club account for well over 70% of the entire industry. Upstart works specifically for startup businesses. So if you don't have cash flow, they're the way to go. If you're a veteran, as I am, Street Shares works very well for you. They cater to veterans. So that's the different kind of peer-to-peer platforms that out there that may work. Much easier to get this kind of financing than you're going to find with most lenders. Now, some sources offer credit lines, including Patriot Express from Street Shares. As I mentioned, Street Shares is really big on veterans. That's why Patriot Express exists with them. So that gives you an idea. But peer-to-peer lending, great way to go right now. Very lenient requirements compared to major lenders. Let me get to some questions, okay? Just logged in. Don't know if it's asked before. Are banks starting to tighten up on lending and underwriting guidelines given what's going on? Yes, they are, without a doubt, and they'll continue to. Here's what happens. It's not that banks, like Chase and Bank of America, are tightening up. What's happening is that people are getting so many applications in that they're basically making their requirements harder to get, so then that way they can slow down the amount of applications they have coming in the door. And if you missed this, go back to when it's done to the very beginning. You'll see I pulled up a slide and actually showed you a lender where they were Thursday to where they are Friday with all the lending industries that are now restricted, with their credit score requirements being tighter, their time in business requirements being tighter. That's why I can't tell you enough. You've got to act now. You've got a limited window where you can still get in, where liquidity is in the markets, where there's cash to be able to be issued, there's credit that's able to be issued, you can get the money. But as more time goes by, more and more lenders stop accepting applications or start dramatically changing their terms to only look at the best applications. So you can still get it, it's just you have to keep in mind that things are changing. Okay, and Josh says, Ty, we met at the closing table, master around with Roland Frazier. Yeah, it's cool, Josh. It's good. It was good to meet you there. And I just did a presentation with Roland the other day. Gary says, another goal of mine is to get money for my business to work on my personal credit as well. We have a bunch of people we can refer you to in that space as well, if that helps. And Card Design says, you're helping the people shore up the losses in the 401k investment market. I'm trying to here, yes. Open your super chat, YouTube here. Okay, so that being said, that's all the questions, so let me go. So, let's go in a little bit more. And somebody's talking about Super Chat. Not familiar with Super Chat on YouTube, but I can see all of your comments in real time, and I'm chatting with you back and forth. Hopefully that will suffice. Unsecured alternative lines of credit. You can get approved for, again, up to $150,000 with some other lending sources. Okay, if you're over $100,000, they're going to want to see a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet, but it's all through alternative lenders offering a line of credit. This works really well for you if you have good personal credit scores and balance sheet and a P&L that makes sense, or a profit and loss statement that makes sense. There's also a lot of high limit credit lines as well, $250,000 plus, but these are full doc credit lines. I told you in the beginning a no doc credit line option. $150,000, no doc, no tax returns, no P&L statement, no balance sheet, no bank statements. This is high limit credit lines where you can get approved for as much as $250,000, but they're going to want it to be full doc. They're going to want tax returns. They're going to want profit and loss statements. They're going to want balance sheets. They're going to want bank statements. Some are guaranteed by SBA, some aren't. why that matters to you. Any SBA loan is more difficult to qualify for than a non-SBA loan, and here's why. SBA loans, okay, have to apply, you have to qualify with SBA's guidelines and with the individual lender's guidelines. But with non-SBA loans that are not guaranteed by SBA, you're only qualifying with that individual lending institution. So anything that's not guaranteed by SBA is a little bit easier to get financing. Okay, so securities lines of credit. This is where you're using stocks and bonds as collateral to get financing. You can borrow as much as 90% of the value of those stocks and bonds with a credit line as low as 5%. Here's why this matters. If you have stocks and bonds, you could still earn interest, you could still keep them in place. Nothing changes with your stocks and bonds. You just use them as collateral and leverage to get a low interest rate credit line. You pay the credit line back that you owe, then your stocks and bonds stay in place, you still earn interest, nothing changes. The only way that you'd be hurt is if you defaulted on the credit line and then they take the stocks and bonds you used as collateral, obviously. But here's why this is so brilliant. You can also use stocks and bonds of a guarantor. So let's say right now, in order for my business to survive, I need $50,000. And I go to my dad because my dad will help me with $50,000. But instead of expecting my dad to liquidate his stocks and bonds and bank accounts and give me 50, I could use dad's stocks and bonds as collateral, get a low interest rate credit line of 5%. Dad still keeps his stocks and bonds. He still earns the interest on the stocks and bonds. The only benefit is that I use those as leverage to get a credit line to get me through this. And again, only way dad would be hurt in that case is if you defaulted on that credit line. So it's just much easier to tap into your network to get the money that you need if you're using guarantors and if you have these kind of access to financing versus if you're just trying to ask them for cash. Okay, now along this line, there's also 401ks work as well. So I talked about stocks and bonds, but if you have 401ks or IRAs, you can use those as collateral to get financing as well and still get a low interest rate loan or credit line of 5% or more. And again, you can use the stocks and bonds and 401k or IRA of a guarantor as well as just your own stocks and bonds. So let's talk about real estate line of credit. This is also something fairly new if you are in doing fix and flip. Okay, it's similar to a HELOC for personal funding, but you're using your home. Okay, you can use the equity in your home or the equity in other properties that you own to get a real estate line of credit. You can get secured and unsecured, and it's great for buying and flipping homes with terms of about up to 2 years. Okay, you can also get shorter terms like 6-month terms for fix and flip. So if you own real estate, your home, multiple other homes, or you're a real estate investor, this works really well for you to be able to use to purchase other real estate or to borrow against real estate you already have. We're using this program to help clients pull together money that they have in equity from their existing properties they own to get financing. We're also using this to help real estate investors still get the money they need to invest in real estate because people are scared right now, so it's a good time to buy. So these are very good if you own real estate or if you're interested in investing in real estate. So I'm going to go back up. I've got some questions here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure that those are answered. Okay, are there special loans for nonprofits? We talked about SBA's loan for nonprofit. We've talked about a lot of options that will work for you if you're a nonprofit today, and there's grants that work for nonprofits. There's not a lot of loans that are specifically designed for nonprofits, but there's a lot of loans that will work for you if you are a nonprofit. They don't discriminate against being a for-profit or nonprofit business. Almost everything I've shown you today will work for nonprofits except for the alternative credit lines, the ones from SBA. Those are the kind of ones that you're going to have to be a for-profit. If you are a nonprofit, you can still get SBA's disaster financing. So hopefully that helps you right now. And Fairmount says, I'm setting up a solo 401k this week. Does it also qualify? Yes, it can qualify as long as it's not currently with an employer. So these real estate lines of credit that I mentioned, 650 FICO score and above. Here's a startup credit line. We had talked about startup financing earlier, and it is offered from Wells Fargo. They have a credit line for startups named Small Business Advantage. No tax returns required. You've got to have a 680 plus FICO to get approved. Credit lines up to $50,000, and you're going to need to set up a Wells Fargo bank account to get approved. But this is a specific credit line that works just for startups, which is not offered by major banks. The interest rates are pretty low on it as well. Let's talk about business credit as well. You can get business credit regardless of personal credit quality, regardless of cash flow, regardless of collateral. Remember, I told you from the beginning, you need cash cash flow credit and or collateral to get financing. But what happens if you don't have cash flow credit and or collateral? Well, you can still build business credit. In 30 to 60 days, you can get credit with almost every major retailer. You can get credit with Amazon. You can get credit with Walmart. Okay, Walmart's slammed right now. So is Amazon, as you can imagine, because so many people are buying so many things from them. Home Depot, Lowe's, Sam's Club, Costco, almost every major retailer offers business credit without a guarantee and without a personal credit check. You can get this right now. The credit markets are great. We are still seeing very high limit accounts, and you can get that major retail credit in about 30 to 60 days and about 4 to 6 months total time. You're able to come in and get auto financing and Visa card and MasterCard credit without a personal guarantee, without a personal credit check. So regardless of cash flow, regardless of credit, regardless of collateral, any business, even a startup, even a high-risk industry, even a nonprofit can still build business credit. And if you'd like help with this, just give us a ring, 877-600-2487. We'll do a free check to see if you're set up with the reporting agencies right now, okay? And then on top of that, we will then come in, help you get credit monitoring with Dun & Bradstreet and Experian for free to see what's on your credit reports, and we will help you outline the exact steps to build business credit without a personal guarantee, without a personal credit check. Look, there's a lot of benefits. First of all, by building business credit, you become more lendable. Every funding program I've shown you today, you have a much better chance of getting approved for more money, getting approved at the best terms if you have business credit established. You can't even get an SBA loan if you don't have business credit established, and business credit by itself works as a great way to get the funding if you can't get funding through any other sources. So there's just no reason you wouldn't want to build business credit. It's a great way to get money through this. And by the way, if you would have and already have started building your business credit, you are 10 steps ahead with your ability to get money through this crisis. If you haven't, learn from what's going on. You need to build business credit now, so the next change in the economy, the next unexpected thing that happens, you have a business credit profile that helps make it easy to get the financing you need when you need it. Okay, just think about it. If your credit's trashed right now on the personal side, it's hard to go use that trashed credit to get you much of anything you need. But if your credit's really good right now, you have a very good chance of using that good credit to get what you need. It's the same thing in the business world. If you have no business credit established, it's tougher to get the money you need right now. But if you've already taken the steps to build business credit, it's easier to get the money you need. It's never too late to start, so make sure you give us a ring if we can help you with building your business credit as well. Let's talk about many other options here. Business credit doesn't require personal guarantee or credit check. Grants, another great way to go. I can go another hour to talk about individual grants. There's a place called Grant Watch that you should look at. I think it's grantwatch.gov, maybe. I'm not sure, but you can search Grant Watch. If you want more information on grants, just go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Credit Suite. Type in grants, and you'll find a whole hour presentation I've done with all kinds of grants, depending on the industry you're in, depending on the state that you're in. Don't rely just on my training. There's a lot of individual grants in your city, in your township, in your industry, in your state. So do some research there. Look in your industry, your state, and type into Google and figure out what kind of grants may be available. But again, I've done a whole hour training on that. Crowdfunding. If you have a unique product or service, crowdfunding can get you millions of dollars if you need it. In a lot of cases, it's not money that ever has to be paid back. You just pay the crowdfunding platform their fee out of the money that you raise. I just did a whole hour-long webinar on crowdfunding. If you check our YouTube channel, you'll be able to find out that I teach exactly the steps to get involved for crowdfunding. Another great way to go. Angel investing. You should know a majority of angel investors are what are called affiliated angels. They're people you already know. So reach out to your own network right now. Offer them notes. Offer them a stake in your business. Tell them that you'll give them 8, 9, 10% interest. You draw up the note. There's a lot of people right now. One of my buddies just texted me earlier. He goes, there is amazing opportunity right now. What should I be doing? And I said, find stable businesses and lend them the money at 8 to 10% interest rate. That's exactly what you do. Because right now you have an amazing opportunity. A lot of people need your help, and they're going to recover in the months to come from this, and they need access to capital. So there's a lot of people that have access to a lot of money that are looking right now. They're pulling it out of the markets, and they're looking to put it elsewhere, those people could be affiliated angels. And if you start asking around in your network, a lot of them won't just give you money. It's not just free money that you're given, but it's money that they will lend to you. It's money that you can exchange for an equity stake in your business. These are called affiliated angels. So keep in mind, your own network and the people that your network can introduce you to a lot of potential angel investors. There's a lot of unaffiliated angel investors as well. On our YouTube channel, I have an entire webinar on angel investing and another entire webinar on a pitch deck and how to create the pitch deck for angel investors. Exactly what's needed there. Okay, I use the same training to build our own pitch deck for Credit Suite, so it's phenomenal. So it teaches you how to get in front of unaffiliated angels, people you don't know, to lend you money. And venture capital is huge right now. Okay, in the weeks to come, I'm doing a whole presentation on how to get venture capital during the coronavirus. There's a lot of venture capitalists right now that are eager to lend businesses money because this is a great time for them to do so. So I've got a lot of training on our YouTube channel about venture capital as well. But these are 5 great alternative ways to get money other than all the unique solutions that we talked about today, which can also work for you as well. So I'm going to go into some questions here before I go any further. Okay, if you have 5 business Amex, Navy Federal Credit Union business card, bank line of credit with great credit, and other business cards, if the utilization is 20% on each, what can you help with to pay those down and get more credit? Well, any of the things I talked to you about today could work for that. Almost any of these options could work for you to pay down those credit cards to open up more funding opportunities. The key is that you want to get accounts potentially that report to the business credit reporting agencies. You could pay down anything that reports on your personal credit. Nobody's going to see that when you're then continuing to go and apply. If you're getting accounts that don't report anywhere to the business credit reporting agencies, we can help you know the best sources to apply. Just give us a ring or apply online. James says, if I was to hire you, can you help a startup with no business credit, 650 personal credit, get a food truck? Sure. I mean, you could use business credit's going to be tough to get a food truck because you're probably not going to get enough money built in Visa, MasterCard credit with business credit for 6 to 12 months to get the money for that purpose. Okay, business credit has a lot of different purposes, but for what you're describing, you would need a Visa card, MasterCard with that much money. That's tougher to do, but if you have a 650 plus credit score, then you could probably get that right now. So yeah, give us a ring. We've got that credit line hybrid program, which could work very well. Not only would you maybe be able to get the food truck, but you'd be able to do so at 0%. So hopefully that can help you there. Okay, so that being said, CAD design, they freak out when you tell them that the 9-10% now we can tell. Okay, so they said they freak out when you tell them 9-10%. Now, how can we find the bank money? Look, here's the deal. And if you're talking about interest rates and fees, if you're getting something like the credit line hybrid program, they're going to charge you 9-10% to get the deal, but you're getting 0% financing. If you're getting a normal SBA loan, you're paying 8% financing, and you're going to pay 4 to 6 points to the lender in SBA anyway. So it's not that much of a difference. But you need to know that when it comes to rates and points, you can go full doc or you can go no doc. That's your choice. If you go no doc, you're going to pay more money. The risk is higher, but it's much easier to get the money. If you go full doc, it takes months to get that money, but the rates are lower. So you just have to make that choice. You can either supply your bank statements and your profit and loss statement, your balance sheets and your tax returns and wait months to get approved and get a lower term, a lower rate, or you can go no doc and get none of that supplied and get the money faster. But that's what's nice about what we're talking about today is you just have options, so you know that. Okay, and you said, Lewis says, the only issue is that you guys charge over 9% from awarded credit. That means if you get approved for $100K, you'll have to pay over $9,000, even if you get 0% interest, what Lewis says. First of all, you should know this. We never charge you a dime of money to get any kind of financing. Credit Suite does not charge you a dime of money ever. We don't charge you application fees. We don't charge you when you get your funding. We don't charge you anything. But the reality is that you're going to pay a bank interest. Yeah. You're going to pay a bank points. Yeah. That's how banks get paid. It doesn't matter what kind of program you look at that I've shown you today. Every single one of these, a bank charges money. That's how banks get paid. So in your example, you're saying, for example, if I get a credit line hybrid, well, the drawback is that you have to pay a 9% fee. Yeah, you do. But you can also go a full doc loan and pay a 6% fee to SBA and the bank and supply bank statements and supply tax returns and supply balance sheets and supply every other piece of documentation and wait 6 months to get approved. Or you can pay 3% less, get 0% interest rates instead of 8% interest rates, and get the money in 3 weeks versus 6 months. You can go with either one that works for you, but yeah, doesn't matter what kind of program you go with, you're going to pay lenders and credit issuers a fee or interest. That's how they all get paid. To give you an example, the credit line hybrid, we had somebody that had your exact same objection and we helped them. We helped him go to his bank. He got $12,500 at his bank, and with the credit line hybrid, he was approved for $75,000. Obviously, after going to his bank, full doc, and waiting a month and a half to get the $12,500, he said, now I'd like to have that $75,000, but he couldn't because the inquiry on his credit report prevented him from getting the $75,000. So there's a lot of options. If you don't want to pay a fee, you can pay 3/4 of that fee and go through an SBA loan and go through a process that takes longer. But it doesn't matter what kind of money you get. You're going to pay rates and fees, everybody. There's no such thing as free money. That's how banks get paid, just so you know that. And if you have any questions on that, then give us a call. We'll always help you get the best financing out there, but you're never going to find free money if that's what you're looking for. Trust me, I continue to look, but it just doesn't exist realistically. Okay, let me see if there's any other questions here I can help. Okay, we want to do a no doc line of credit. That is CAD Design, the credit line hybrid program. So if I can help you with that, let us know. And Aldo says, does Cabbage count as business credit? They don't report to the business credit reporting agencies, but they will lend you money based on your cash flow. That's how Cabbage works. So if there's a way that we can help you here, here's what I was just mentioning. Look, we combine every legitimate funding program that exists in one place. We vet a lot of programs and they don't really do what they say they're going to do, and we don't even count them. But when we vet programs and they actually really do what they say they're going to do, we bring them into our arsenal. We have over 1,000 lenders, and you never pay us a fee. We don't charge you up front. We don't pay you in the deal funds. Credit Suite for financing never pays you a fee. Don't get me wrong. If you want to build business credit with us, we have amazing software and an amazing team that can help you do that. And there is a fee depending on which level you come in with. If you want to be a partner and offer business credit and financing, pretty good time to do so right now. There's a fee to do that too, and you get a bunch of stuff with that. But if you're coming in and getting loans and credit lines, we never charge you a fee to get that money. And we do so much volume with the lenders we work with that they give us volume discounts. So you're going to get better terms with us than anywhere else anyways, just because we do so much volume with the same lender. If you're submitting one application and we submit $7 million worth of applications to that lender, they obviously give us better pricing that we pass on to you as the customer. Okay, we can also help you build a blueprint to SBA loans. If you can't get SBA right now, we will get you all the money you can get, and we will work with you to understand exactly what it takes to get an SBA loan, and we will help you qualify. Our goal is pretty simple. Our clients right now, when this whole thing went down, called us and said, I need help. And we said, okay, here you go. Here's the money. So one of my friends, Sam, for example, today, we're helping him get an SBA loan. We helped him get financing to open up his second and third gym. So no big deal. He just contacts us and we immediately go to work to get him more financing when he needs it. That's my entire goal as an entrepreneur, is to help you get the money that you need when you need it. And there's three things that we do. We help you improve the fundability, the things that lenders and credit issuers are looking at to get you approved. We help you build business credit for your EIN that's not linked to your personal social. And we also help you access all loans and credit lines in one place. So all the financing I talked about today and 30 plus other programs we offer, that way we can help you get max funding. We can help you get approved when you typically wouldn't, and we can help you typically get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different kinds of financing to help you get the most amount of money. So that's how we help you actually get the money that you need. So a lot of things are changing right now. I went through a bunch of different options for you. If you didn't see something that works for you, then give us a call. Go online, creditsuite.com/get funding, or give us a ring at 877-600-2487. We'll talk about other options we have that we haven't even talked about today. We've got a bunch, hundreds and hundreds of free videos on our YouTube channel that will also help you with everything from getting crowdfunding to angel investing, to everything else in between that can help you there as well. So if we can help you with any kind of financing, just let us know. And if you go to creditsuite.com at the top right of our page, you'll be able to access our social media links. We are going live on Facebook multiple times per week right now, YouTube, Instagram multiple times. We are putting daily tips on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. We actually have a presentation tomorrow on what's going on at a state level for you. So for example, Florida has a $50,000 interest-free loan that you can get as an entrepreneur for disaster relief right now. Did you know that if you're in Florida? Have you applied? That's what we're going over tomorrow. It's state by state by state, everything you need to know to get money in your specific state, and we'll do a recap and an update with SBA loans. So keep in touch with us on social as we go through this. We are producing a lot of information to try to keep you educated and make sure that you know all the funding options that work for you as well. So I'm going to go back and answer some questions that I have. Linda says, your new client been in business for 3 months with 44 paydex score. What are your recommendations for a credit line? Well, there'll be other questions I would want to ask you, Linda, but it comes down to credit, cash flow, and collateral. What is your strength? We talked about a lot of options today that work on one of those three strengths. If you're saying that you haven't told me any of those, you haven't told me your cash flow, you haven't told me the credit, you haven't told me the collateral, so I don't know. But if you give us a ring or go to creditsuite.com/get funding, then there you're able to come in and we'll be able to tell you all the financing that you can get. Your paydex is low, and we have to see how many trade lines you have to use business credit alone to get you financing, but there's a lot of other options as well. CAD Design says, is there a limit on hard inquiries for personal? There's not a limit per se. On the credit line hybrid, they want you to be under 6 inquiries on your personal credit. If you have up to 6, it just affects how much funding you have. So really minimize your funding in this crisis, because any of those inquiries can cost you your ability to get more about financing. What about credit repair company? We don't do personal credit repair, but there's a lot of reputable credit repair companies out there. If you want a referral to one, just give us a call and we will refer you to one of a lot of our clients are credit repair companies. They're not clients to build business credit. They're clients to offer business credit and financing as a service. So we have a partner program, and a lot of credit repair companies offer business credit and financing to their customers through us. So we have hundreds of companies that we work with that can help you in that space. Just give us a ring and we'll refer you to somebody. Seba says, can we rename the book you gave us? If you are a partner, yes, you absolutely can. CAD Design says, got my 767 score, looking for all the credit I can get. Give us a ring and we'll help you stack it in a way where you're applying for max programs. So let me give you an example. We would come in some strategies and help you get credit line hybrid. Then we would come right behind it with a cash flow financing credit line. So if you went and got the cash flow financing credit line first, that inquiry would cost you money on credit line hybrid. But by applying for credit line hybrid first, we max that funding. Then we go to cash flow financing type credit line, get you that one, and down the chain. So we do it in a way where we're applying for them in order where the inquiries won't hurt you and will help you get max funding. Gerald says, I'm a credit repair company. Can we get financing? You absolutely can. As I just mentioned, a lot of our partners are credit repair companies. So I will say with confidence, I don't think you're going to find a company that funds more credit repair companies than us, because we do so much financing for so many of our partners, and we've went to so many lenders and had to make exceptions and then shown them time and time and time again that your industry performs well on loans, and they've opened that up and removed restrictions on that industry. So that's an industry we do a lot of different kind of funding for. And Raina says, I have a line of credit with Bluevine. Great source. I love Bluevine. Credit lines up to $150,000 Bluevine will do, and they are do artificial intelligence. So that's a really good program. Oh, where did I just go? Okay. They have been easy to work with, but although expensive, we're building credit. I'm happy with that. Yeah, they're a really good one. We like Bluevine. There's another source that's even better that we like more than Bluevine. So Raina, if you don't have enough money, give us a call or go to creditsuite.com/get funding. We'll talk about another source that's easier to qualify for Blue than Bluevine, and somebody that we like a little bit more. New business ventures, we talked about a lot of financing that can work. If you're a new business, you don't have cash flow, so you're going to want to rely on credit, or you're going to want to rely on collateral to get approved. Your name here literally is no one. I love that. No one says, how do you make money with all this free info? Look, I am the king of free information, but I need you to understand that I do what I do because I was hit in the economy. I owned a mortgage company when the whole thing crashed. Then I realized what business credit was. I realized what financing was, and I try to provide the education now to you so you don't have the same fate that I had not knowing that it's there. But if you want to know as a company how we actually really generate money, this is how we do it. We do it 2 different ways. We have a phenomenal business credit building system that will take you about 4 to 6 months to do what most people take 3 years to do with business credit building. We can get you 50, 100,000 plus in business credit in a very short period of time. That's not linked to your personal social without a personal guarantee. We have multiple levels of entry, but our clients pay an investment to enroll into that program and work with our team and our software to get a ton of business credit really quickly. And then lenders pay us a referral fee in a lot of cases. We don't charge you any money to get loans and credit lines, but in a lot of cases, we may get a referral fee just for referring you with the lender that actually closes the deal. So that's how we get paid. Now, of course, that doesn't cost you more. We do so much volume with them that they give our customers typically discounts, so it's cheaper to go through us than go through them anyways. But those are the main two ways that we actually make money. And we have a partner program where we help our partners offer business credit financing as a service. So they're out there offering our software, our business credit building system, sometimes white label in their name even, and then we're coming in and doing all the servicing for them. So in case you really wanted to know, those are actually our revenue models. That's how we actually exist as a company. Okay, Rena says, however, I asked them what they're doing to help small business through a few months, and they said they're freezing all draws to protect themselves. Rena, Blue Vine, yeah. That's what you're seeing. A lot of banks are just trying to protect themselves right now, and that's why we're constantly out. And this is why you have over 1,000 lenders. We work with over 1,000 lenders because we see what you're seeing. We have lenders that completely stopped accepting applications. We have lenders that won't even accept applications for any brokers that aren't what we call super brokers, like we are, that do tremendous amounts of volume. So by having a large array of businesses, we can work with those that are trying to help you instead of those that happened with. And I'm sorry that happened to you, or that they're treating you that way. Okay, let me see anything else. Okay, had 12 inquiries reported. CAD Design, give us a ring. We work with some of the sources that help you get credit line hybrid, that if those inquiries aren't ones that you know about, they have some kind of programs that they can help you with that. And we talked about that as well. Had to answer. Okay, just going through questions real quick to see if there's anything else before we wrap up. What about realtors? A lot of the financing I've offered you today will work for real estate agents. Even giving you some realtor-specific financing and business credits as an alternative as well. Real estate agents and real estate investors are two of the biggest industries that we actually help with building business credit. Okay, and let me see, trying to get credit monitoring from you guys is still available. Yes, you can. You can go to creditsuite.com/monitoring, and at creditsuite.com/monitoring, you can get business credit monitoring for $24 versus the bureaus that will charge you $200 for exactly the same thing. So it saves you 90%. And okay, what about e-commerce businesses? It's been very hard to get funding. Yes, you can still get money from e-commerce businesses. Some financing, like cash flow financing, is tougher to get with e-com right now, but you're still able to get a lot of the other financing we talked about today, including credit line hybrid, including SBA disaster loans, including a lot of the collateral and asset-based credit lines. Those are the kind of things that could definitely help you. Okay, what about, we talked about that. Okay, you help to get the credit within the EIN for LLCs. Yes, we do. We help build business credit for your EIN that's not linked to your social, so we can help you build the business credit that's attached to your LLC and not attached to your social. Okay, let me see. Okay, and Revival on the Hudson says, I want to consolidate some personal credit card debt to lower my monthly payout. My FICO is 700. Can you help me? Yes, we absolutely can. So what we would do is help you get 0% financing, consolidate at 0%. Then you tell us, do you want the credit to report on your business credit reports or your consumer? We could get you both with the 700 FICO score. So for example, one of my friends came to me and said the same thing. I have debts that I need to immediately get off me personally into the business. No problem. We got him credit line hybrid, and then what we did was moved all those debts, consolidated to 0% for 18-month business account. It pulled all the credit off the consumer credit reports. The scores shot up, helping him get even more financing, and it helped him establish business credit at exactly the same time. So that's definitely possible. And CAD Design says 3 of the inquiries from the same lender. We can help you. We'll refer you to somebody that can help you with those as well. So look, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up, but we are not done here, okay? I'm going live on YouTube currently 2 to 3 times a week. I'm going live on Facebook twice a week, okay? And twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we're going live and even trying Instagram now, which we've never done Instagram before. We have webinars every other week as well. If you want to get information from us that's up to date, then go to our social media links at the top right of our page at creditsuite.com. Subscribe, like the videos. I appreciate your likes. I've got a lot of likes during this. Thanks. It lets YouTube know this content is good, and by you telling YouTube that you got value from this, YouTube will show it to more people, because that's how YouTube's algorithm works. So please, if you've hung out and you got value here, please just like the video. Well, what happens to me is it really means a lot, because when you like the video, then YouTube sees the likes, they see the questions, they see the engagement, and they automatically will show it to more people. If that doesn't happen, then other people can't find this information and get the same help. And as an entrepreneur like me, I'd like to think that we're all here to help each other during this time. So that's how one thing you could do to help me is just like the videos, subscribe, and then that way when we go live, YouTube notifies a portion of our subscribers. But if you'd like to learn more about getting financing, getting credit, follow us on our social channels. We are consistently and regularly going live to make sure that we're giving you the most up-to-date information. Okay, CAD Design says what time? Here is our new schedule. We will go live on YouTube at 1 o'clock Eastern weekly. We will go live on YouTube Wednesday at 11 o'clock Eastern. We will go live on Facebook typically at 2 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday. Obviously, I can't right now because I'm here. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going right to Facebook Live. Okay, and we also go live on Facebook Thursday at 11. When I'm done with my Thursday at 11 Facebook stream, about 11:30, I'm then pulling up Instagram and going live on Instagram. So that's our schedule. YouTube, Tuesday at 1, 11 o'clock Eastern. Okay, and Thursday on Facebook Live, we go live at 11 o'clock. We also go live at about 2 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday as well on Facebook. And Instagram at about 11:30, we are going to go live on Thursday. That is our schedule if you have any other questions. And, okay, so that being said, I'm going to wrap up. If you have any other questions, I'm not going away. You can actually come right over to Facebook and follow me when we're getting ready to talk about vendors you could use to build business credit on Facebook. Right now, I'm getting ready to get off, and within 5 to 10 minutes, I'll be live on Facebook talking about vendors you can get right now to help build business credit even with the coronavirus. If you have other questions, just give us a ring, 877-600-2487. Send us an email, info@creditsuite.com. Go to creditsuite.com/getfunding to apply and see all the money that you can get now. I just beg you, please, be patient. Okay, as you can imagine, we are overwhelmed right now trying to help everybody that we can help. So our normal policy of calling every single person back within an hour might be a little stretched. It might be a couple hours before we get back to you, but just be patient. Send us an email, give us a call, leave us a voicemail. Go to creditsuite.com/getfunding. Any of those options will work for you to be able to get access to money for your business. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. If you have any other questions, please give us a ring, 877-600-2487, or get approved at creditsuite.com/getfunding. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock Eastern here on YouTube, where we talk about what's going on in your state for disaster relief. All 50 states will cover, so you know how to get the most amount of money for your business in your state. Thanks you all for tuning in, and thank you all for your engagement. Thanks for the likes, and thank you very much for all you do as entrepreneurs to help other people. If we can do anything to help you, let us know. And the one thing I ask of all of you is, please, if you got value, just click like. It's simple to do, and it helps us get this message out to more people. Thanks, everybody.